This is not an ad. What's going on, Common Sensors? This is Michael Vorpal, and welcome to the Common Sense is Not That podcast, where we are just breathing life back into common sense in the world, and it would just make it a better place. So, if you believe a man can be a girl and a girl can be a man, look, I hate to break it to you, this show is probably not for you. But then again, maybe it is, because we have execution of freedom of speech, freedom of thought, and we can have some civil discourse, disagree on certain topics, but at the end of the day, still have mutual respect. So maybe this is just the medicine you need in order to challenge your perspective, and you can challenge mine, much like we should do, so that we can all come together and find the best solution to move forward. To me, that seems like the most common sense thing to do, but we have to actually execute it in order to go ahead and move forward. But with that being said, I'm not here to talk about that topic. I'm here to provide you value. I'm here to give you something to apply to your life, to really get you to think in order to take yourself to the next level in many different areas of your life. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a Christian, I'm a Marine, I'm a son, a lot of different hats. I've been a mentor, all of these things where I just want to give you value. So by the end of today's episode, you're going to absolutely have something to fuel your mind, fuel your thoughts, and really challenge your own perspective and see, am I being the best in this aspect of my life? So I'm here to help. I'm here with you, and I'm developing along with you. Before we get into today's topic, I want to take care of some administrative things. I am an active duty Marine, so the thoughts, opinions, and views are mine and mine alone, and are in no way affiliated with the United States Marine Corps Department of Defense or their equivalents, aka common sense reigns supreme here. Look, this is my own; these are my own thoughts, and it has nothing to do with anything of the official capacity when I talk about things that are going on in the military or the Marine Corps, etc. Now, you're going to find different types of formats within a show. First, you're going to find today's type of episode, which is lessons learned, where I give you a perspective, a lesson that I learned the hard way, so that you can go ahead and notice these things sooner in your life, and you can apply them in your life and be able to maybe navigate those things a little more quickly than I did. That's the end goal, to give you tools to navigate things more quickly than I was able to. Then you'll have full send Q&A, where in the military, we have this thing called full send, like send it, where we're on the range, we're firing weapons, we're shooting rounds, whatever it is, and at targets. And we just say full send, which just means unload, right? Just full send all the ammo down, like fire all your rounds. So I want to do the same thing with your questions. So whatever questions you have, full send them, bring it on. And you could submit those questions by commenting them in the comment section and the YouTube video you're watching right now, or you can send them in to fullsendforanswers@gmail.com. Again, that's fullsendforanswers@gmail.com, and I'll give you the unfiltered truth and reality and common sense approach to whatever it is that you're asking. Another format of the show is what we call Let's Talk About It, where I see headlines that just stick out to me that absolutely go against common sense and they don't make sense. And we go ahead and talk about those and provide you some common sense approaches. A lot of that has to do with things that, are current events. Again, I got to, navigate what I can and cannot talk about within the confines of the rules and policies, right? Which is sometimes annoying, but it is what it is. So I go ahead and do my best in that regard. Then the last format we have is called Scroll and Troll, where I'm scrolling social media. I see a video. It makes, again, absolutely no sense, but I troll it in the sense of, let's provide some common sense context and perspective to what it is that is going on here. Okay. Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of things that are just stupid. Just giving it to you real. There's a lot of things that are stupid. And if we can go ahead and provide the common sense and alternative to that, what a better place our world would be, right? So those are the formats of the show. That's who I am. Now, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I want to provide value to you, whether it's my fellow veterans, past, present, and future, parents, those going through a fitness journey, weight loss journey. I'm also a credentialed, personal trainer, nutrition coach as well. And needless to say, my chosen career path, look, I've had to maintain a certain level of health and wellness my entire life. So my entire adult life. Needless to say, I wasn't always there. I used to be the pudgy kid in school, almost pushed 200 pounds freshman year. Anyway, look, I'll talk about that one day. But at the end of the day, I'm here to just give you value and take yourself to the next level. So with that being said, I'm not doing this for free. Now, I'm not going to ask for your money. I'm not going to ask for you to donate anything. What I am going to ask you for is your continued attention, but more so your contribution to the show. I need you to share this show with another person who shares common sense, or someone who you believe might need some common sense or the encouragement that come with these episodes in these shows. So that's what I need from you. That's the payment to me, is by you sharing the show. Because by you sharing the show, it tells me if I'm doing a good job or not. By you guys asking questions in the comments, that's what's telling me I can provide value. And if I'm not getting that, then I know I need to continue to improve, which I'm going to do anyway. But I need your guys' help in order to do that. Okay. So I think we can do that together. I think we can grow together. I know that we can get this going together. And that's all I ask. With that all being said, all the administrative done, let's get into today's episode. So like I said earlier, this is going to be a lessons learned episode. All right. And it really hit me hard today because over the last couple of weeks as a parent, I've been really reflecting on how my daughter's 10, going to be 11 years old. And, you know, how fast time flew. It's really flown by. And just to give you a little background, I've struggled with, hey, do I provide quality and quantity time? I've struggled with, when do I provide that time? But I also have my own personal goals that I want to do as a parent or as a man or as a coach or, you know, outside of spending time with my daughter, right? Being involved in her extracurriculars and being present and really investing into her in her development. And I've wrestled with these things. Like, I feel selfish if I do this, but I want to be able to do that because it's a good example, but then I don't feel fulfilled and I feel bad because I don't feel fulfilled. And it's almost like, hey, it turns into this, the dedicated time to my daughter turns into, but it's taking away from me and what I need to do. But I know I need to do that as a parent. And then I feel bad for that. So it's almost like it feels like a double whammy, right? Where I feel bad for not pursuing my goals and dreams. Then I feel bad that I'm almost blaming my child for this. And sometimes do be like, man, you know, like I just want to focus on this so hardcore and focus so much of my attention on it that we almost look at our children in a negative light. And it's not their fault, right? I mean, we chose to have sex and conceive this child. And then now it's our job and responsibility to invest in them. But then you know that. And, you know, it just, maybe you can relate. You just keep going round and round and round. And, you know, at the end of the day, here's what I've realized. That's okay. Number one, if that's you, and I know it to be true, I swear, if there's any type of little ambition having parent out there, everyone has felt this to some degree. Okay. You are okay. I'm right there with you. I've had to navigate this. Now, what's even worse is for me, there was a time period of 4 years, given my career and external circumstances, where I only saw my daughter a total of 4 months in 4 years. So out of her 10 years of life so far, there was a only 6-year time period, plus now insert a deployment. So that subtracts about another year. So 5 years in which I could have been present during those times of her development at different stages. Now, fortunately, by the grace of God and his work in my life, in our life, I have a lot more time now to invest into my daughter and be there in those present moments. And our relationship is a beautiful father-daughter relationship. You know, it's grown. I'm teaching her all these life lessons and things like that. But the struggles I mentioned were really, really prevalent. And it hit me even more because almost half her life up to this date, like time, real time right now, over half of her life, I was not able to do so. But I still are feeling these things. And I just kept asking myself, I'm like, wait, you weren't present for half of her life. Why do you still feel this way? Why are you doing this? Like, you should be focusing and taking every moment to try and make up for time lost. Like, what is wrong with you? And I kept beating myself up over this. And I really did. And maybe you guys don't have it that extreme where, you know, you've been able to be present in your children's life. And, you know, that's a beautiful thing. And I thank God and I pray for you. And you continue to have that every single day, you know, and I share my circumstance with you as a vulnerability, not as like a woe is me, but just to give you my perspective, right? Like, I was not present for nearly half the life of my daughter, and yet I still share these same things. So, in reflecting, this has gotten me to realize that it doesn't matter how much time you have with the child or those who are important to you, if we want to make it a broader context. But as a parent, it doesn't matter how much time, we're still going to experience these same things, and that's okay. But here's what I've learned and how I've learned to navigate this: it's finding a schedule that works for you to invest that time of quality. We've heard it before, quality over quantity, right? But with that being said, we tend to be like, I don't know. It's almost like we're hesitant on it, even though it's been proven to be true with psychologists, other types of mental health care professionals, sociology, psychology, right? All of these things, it has been proven, and there's study upon study. And you can even talk to anyone who was a child, because we all were, right? Talk to anyone. It was, hey, it was the time I got to be with my father. It was the time he would work with me on my dribbling in basketball from my mother. It was the time where my dad would be a goalie for soccer. It was the time where my mother would sit with me and help me with my English paper. It was those things that are cherished at the end of the day. And it was the quality of those moments. Vacations are fun, right? Watching shows is fun. But what about the concert that you didn't show up for? What about the game that you could have gone to, but you chose to do something else? And you could have easily moved that other thing to another time. But that took priority. And that's the word. So it is quality over quantity, and it's prioritizing time to be present in those moments. It's not saying you have to divest all your attention into your child. And this is what I've learned too. I have learned to set parameters and boundaries and provided a structure in order for my daughter to understand structure, and also set an example of, hey, dad is focusing on his goals right now. He is focusing this amount of time until this time. But then after that, guess what? We are going to do this together. And it's formulating that structure. Now, my daughter's a little older. You can do this. But if you have a younger child, maybe if someone can go ahead and watch that child for you, or if you have a significant other, they can take over and spend that quality time while you pursue those things. Or you're going to have to shift it around and wait until that child goes to bed. Now, a newborn, it's really, really difficult. I completely agree. At that point, we have to adjust and say, hey, at least I could focus this much time every day in order to pursue something that's fulfilling to you. And that's not going to be what you want it to be right away. And you have to execute patience. Okay. So those are the things that I want you to understand. You're going to have to, it is quality over quantity. You're going to have to prioritize your time and your schedule, and you're going to have patience. And because when we have children, we have to understand that a lot of our goals are going to take a little longer in order to achieve, outside of being able to invest and take that responsibility of raising that child seriously. Now, you're going to have people that say, hey, you have to divest all this time, all this energy, all this effort, and it's only them 100% of the time. And I'm here to tell you that is not true whatsoever. Not true. Now, if that's how you want to be, more power to you. I fully support that. If that's what makes you feel fulfilled and that's what your goal is, more power to you. But most of us most of us do want a little bit more. We're working on a side gig. We're trying to go to school. We're trying to get promoted, but it means we have to invest time into a professional development course. We have these other things that we have to do. So you're going to have to focus on the quality over quantity. You're going to have to prioritize time, and you're going to have to execute patience. All right. And the final thing I'm going to leave you with is the internal struggle of when your child comes up and says, hey, dad, hey, mom. And this just happened for me today. All right. Let me just share you the story, actually. So I had already done my workout. I was up at 4:30 this morning. Today, time of recording, it's Sunday. I was up at 4:30, executing all of my powerless tasks, things that I know I needed to do. because I shifted. I prioritized my time to where I could have uninterrupted time to focus on everything I needed to focus on. So I got up at 4:30 in the morning. I was doing all my tasks. I was reading my book. I was taking notes. I was replying to clients, and I did my workout. I got my first meal in, and I got it all done. Well, my plan was to have today just be that light activities, do some legs, and that was going to be my workout, and that was it. But then my daughter said, "Hey, Dad, can we do the thing where you run and I ride my bike?" And be like you said we could. And I did. I told her I said we could. And I'm sure you've experienced this where your kid comes up, right? And they're just like, "Hey, can we go do this thing that you said that we could do?" And, for a moment, and looking back on it, for a moment, I wanted to say no. Like, "Oh, I already did my workout. Like, I really don't want to go for this run right now because if I want to, it's going to be this long." And it's like, "Oh, man, and I already did legs," right? Can you relate? I know I can because it's happened quite a bit. Needless to say, right after this, I'm still sweaty. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm still sweaty. I did it anyway. And that's the final thought. If you say you're going to do something, show up and do it. Because how much more quality is that time now when you have your child coming up to you and saying, "Dad, Mom, can we go do the thing together that you said we could do?" They are asking to spend time with you. They are knowing that it is important and that it's okay to come and ask you for that time. They are wanting that time. I fought those things. I'm not proud that I've made decisions where I prioritized other things or said, "No, we can do it later," knowing full well that they were just a little sad that you said no in that moment. Now, if it's a time constraint thing, totally get it. There are circumstances in which you can't just go do that thing. But honestly, if I'm being real with myself and you're real with yourself, how many times is that actually the case? How many times is it, "No, I actually can't because we have these other things that we have to do"? I'll tell you, for me, it was very rare. It was very rare that I couldn't just put my phone down, pause my show, and go spend that time. So I challenge you to be honest with yourself. I challenge you to take these things, write them down, and reflect on them. Thing number one, it's quality over quantity. I tested it and it's true in my life, and I know it can be true in yours. Number two, prioritize your time. Look at your schedule. Is there a way you could get up just an hour earlier and go to bed an hour earlier so that you can start chipping away at that extra stuff that you want to do for yourself, for your own goals, and you can still provide that quality time? Number three, how can you execute patience? What are some things and expectations that you can put for yourself so that you aren't constantly disappointed and start resenting something or someone? And the final one, if you say yes, you're going to do it, and your child comes up and asks you to do it, and you're able to do it, you better be honest with yourself and you better show up. Take it from someone who, for half of his daughter's life, at the time of this recording, missed out on opportunities to do those four things. And even with the 5 years, was still struggling to understand these things. Tell you one thing, I don't regret going for a run, getting sweaty, spending that quality time with my daughter, because guess what she's going to ask to do again? To spend more time with her dad and do things that make us grow together. So I thank you guys. I know this gave you value. Share this with someone who has common sense, who might need help in the parenting department, or share it with someone who you know would appreciate it. That's your contribution. That's how we grow this common sense. And until next time, guys, don't be dense. Share the common sense.